is just to summarize, right? So what I heard you saying is that we ourselves can't change our blueprint, but reality pressures us to change our blueprint by, like, yeah, it's almost like it comes from outside of us when we're dissatisfied or whatever, reality just pressures us to change our, and so then we, that same reality is kind of like pressuring us to find an environment that supports the kind of changes we're looking for. Is is that a fair summary?
Everything is just is. We're just like babies in a room. We're interacting with it, and then we're beginning to learn how it works. The method of operation, the system actually exists. Meaning, if I have a scab, right, I can pick it, and it can be a habit that I'm picking a scab, um, and it doesn't have to bother me until I get an infection. But then when I get an infection, then I begin to realize that maybe picking my scab allows germs in, and in the whole process. And through that painful experience, I begin to understand a slightly different aspect of life. Um, so the same thing with the environment, until I'm sick and tired, like a lot of women, for example, until I'm sick and tired of being with people who humiliate me, not even humiliation, right? Degradation or whatever those bad friendships do to you, where slightly making fun or basically when I'm sick and tired of feeling like shit, then I begin to look for different people. Until then, there's a certain something in me that needs that type of fulfillment, because it's still fulfillment, meaning I'm not good enough to be a part of somebody higher, somebody better, meaning I view myself as somebody so low that I need that type of behavior towards me in order to justify my existence with those people.
Yeah, the drama lets you know you're alive, right? You're not going anywhere, but there's a whole lot of drama, and it bears no fruit. All it causes separation, actually, right? Sometimes that the selfishness behind the goal. I want my way, but I really.
Now, Ben, did you have any other question before we continue?
No, I forgot to mute myself.
Cool. Um, Now, your second question, which was very interesting also, was after one becomes familiar with one's blueprint and imagines a worthy a goal and imagines the goal worthy of one's time and effort, how does one proceed in the best way? How can we practically hold our intention in the midst of inevitable challenges and setbacks? Um, so, what are challenges and setbacks? If we are essentially talking about the growth of this blueprint, the evolution of this blueprint for this, whatever I call I, for this I to grow beyond where it is now, which I can't imagine. I have no idea what that is. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know how I look like and how I feel outside of my current situation and sensation. But I know that my current conditions are less than favorable and they make me feel bad. So something has to change. What has to change? What are those things? How do I go through the challenges and setbacks? So what are challenges and setbacks? Challenges and setbacks are essentially communications that I disagree with what's coming my way. Meaning I would rather be in my current state, in my current situation, and be comfortable. rather than be uncomfortable. And it's natural. I mean, if we're talking about a system, an internal system of just existing that tells me that I want as much pleasure and as little pain as possible, then this is only natural for me to want to stay as I am now without any development, because growth equals pain. If that's in my formula, if that's in my blueprint, in my association of life and reality. But if I actually have a goal that excites me, that drives me, that moves me towards it, then I begin to internalize that every setback, in every conflict, in every situation that comes my way, with every step that I take to overcome it, I'm actually closer to my blueprint, to my goal. So now everything that comes my way is only a way for me to clarify my goal. How am I looking in that goal? What is it? What do I want? And how do I get to it? So it's a present, because everything that comes towards me, if I look at it from the point of view of what I want, the end result, then I begin to realize that it's only coming my way to help me reach it. And then my attitude towards those setbacks and towards those challenges completely changes, and I can actually enjoy life and everything that it brings me.
That is an incredible perspective. It's really amazing. And it reminds me, there's this book that's called The Obstacle is the Way. And it's like, it's exactly what you just said. You know, it's like the obstacles are actually there to help you reach the goal, not to stop you from reaching the goal. And you need the information that the obstacles provide in order to, in this case, like expand the blueprint. You know, it's kind of like what I've kind of been thinking about this is like your blueprint's like this little puzzle piece, and you're going around to all the different parts of reality and saying, do you fit my puzzle piece? Do you fit my puzzle piece? Do you know, and like changing the reality is not going to change. So there might be just very few experiences that would bring you happiness given your current blueprint. But if you've got a blueprint that fits more situations in the outside world, you have a greater chance of being happy, you know? So it's like the work on the blueprint is the thing that is going to bear fruit, not all this energy spent trying to find situations out there that fit my limited blueprint. So, but you said that it's not something that I can do myself. You know, so it's like, how can we support each other in
About how we can
reformatting our blueprint?
about how we can support each other. We're going to talk at the end of our meeting today, because I've been feeling for the past couple of weeks that it is time to go practical. I feel like there's only so much we can really get really advanced past a certain point of like, okay, now we understand how this whole thing works. We more or less understand relationships. We more or less understand what we want, but then what the hell do we do to get it? How do I motivate myself? How do I change this reality to basically work with me to constantly develop and evolve? Because there's a very strong push when you have a partner that has a similar goal to you, and together you build your life around that goal, it propels you light years, light years ahead than you would if you try to accomplish it by yourself. Because men don't feel deficient. We don't feel any problems unless they come and knock us on the head like a club. Then we're like, oh, where did it come from? Let's fight. Women, they're so intuitive. They're so intuitive. They feel everything around them. They're so sensitive to every vibration of this universe that if we work together to align towards something greater than us and actually work together to achieve it, with her sensitivity and my just numb-headedness that I can just break through walls if I need to, that is the most sick combination nature could have created. And it did. It did. All we need to understand and how to work with it to our benefit, not to suffer from it, but how to use those embedded forces in nature to just propel us forward into greater realizations, greater self-awareness, into everything that it has prepared from us that already exists. We just need to move step by step, another inch, and now we actually have a partner that is there to support us, to guide us to, because we spoke about it in one of our first meetings, initial meetings, where a woman can't reach goals by herself. Meaning, I mean, she can, right? But what kind of goals can she reach? Again, goals that are within her blueprint. She can't, nobody can go above what their inner drive is. But what do we see about our inner drive? It's very simple. I fill the cup, I realize I'm empty. I fill the cup and I realize I'm empty. So the same thing, I chase goals, I fulfill the goals, I realize something's missing. So I try to find what's missing. I identify it as if I try to chase it again, and then I get it again, and then I'm empty again. So there's no such thing where I'm like, can I just be satisfied for a little bit? Can I just get some contentment, some chill? What's going on? And that's why depression is like the number one disease in this in the world right now, in the developed world, because people they understand that they have the potential to get anything they want. They just don't know what they want. They don't know what they want that would fulfill that inner gap. So what do? Drugs. Because at least drugs take me out of my reality. They take me out of my sensation. They expand my awareness a little bit, right? I experience different things. I get it. But there also comes a time with drugs where what you've experienced isn't enough anymore. And then you're just either suicidal or you're going to more serious drugs that will take you a notch higher. Because the addiction is not always to the chemical. It's to the reality that we live in. That it's so heavy and we don't know how to work with it. We don't know how to operate it. We're lost. Nobody gave us the tools that we need to actually realize who we are in this reality, how to be fulfilled. What do we need? What are the tools? How do I interact with it? So I have a question for you guys. How do I come out of my blueprint? Go ahead, Ben.
Keep showing up to these kind of meetings where at least there's a chance that we create support for each other. That's one. And I guess the other one would be to be in action. You know, that, like you were talking about, like it's all fine to theorize about it, but you got to try it out somehow, you know. So I don't know how we do that, but I guess we just do the best we can, you know, but be willing to take a risk and I, you know, the best counsel I could give myself is to just not take it personally when I fall flat on my face, you know, that it's just like you just said, you know, that these challenges and setbacks are there actually to give me information about, like, valuable, priceless information about what reality is about and how to manage it to reach the goal. So that's my answer, and I'm sticking to it. Who's next?
Yeah. How do I change my blueprint? So any change is going to be, painful. There's going to have to be effort involved. All of these like terrible words, right? So we have this thing that we have this goal, right? But so with pain, I say pain, it could be, I mean, it's not like you're cutting your arm off, to be honest. But it's change. It's, it can be, I guess it could be pain. Yeah, for sure. But with that, you couple support, right? And to me, it just, ever since I heard the first thing that you did, Alex, was basically like, so I'm a big like in spec guy. So if someone says to me like something's not working, I'll look at it and go, well, you're out of spec. You're not within the spec of the equipment that you're running, right? There's a reason they made the spec, right? And there's a reason women have specifications, and using men with women and all these things, there's specifications for this. There's a well-designed system that was apparently not told to me, okay? And, my mom always makes, she always pokes because she wants grandchildren and all this, right? And I said, well, you know what? Nobody taught me how to work with a woman, to her benefit and mine, and to society's benefit as well. You didn't explain any of that to me. You just said, go get one. And she's like, geez, you kind of have a point, and this is what happened. You didn't get grandchildren. That's a big loss. So I instilled that in her as well. Maybe you want to, as a society, you want to explain people how to have male-female relationships, So yeah, Richard or Taco, either one.
Okay, I'll chime in. Yeah, thank you, Alec. The one thing in life that's the most valuable is time, right? And I appreciate you taking your time from your relationship and your family to come together with us men in an effort to try to be better guys with these women that I don't understand, right? You said a couple of things that this blueprint thing is so true. At 60 years old, I would say, yes, I find that to be true. Hopefully people will not have to make, learn from my experience that what you're saying is true. I've learned from the pain side of the equation, right? But you said something about the environments. And I remember very young when I got married, that when the problems came, I had two environments to listen to: the guys that I went through college with, or my parents that had been married for 20 years. And I got very different feedback, right? But I don't know if I wasn't mature enough yet, or if it was just the hormones, right? But the thing that you said about the two of us coming together with a common goal, and instead of getting the goal being the goal, to realize that there's going to be work involved in trying to get the goal, and that work together, that cooperation and those struggles would make the two as one, as a partnership. That's good stuff. How to do that is what I'm very interested in doing. And the last thing I would say is that there's a deficiency with the young men today. I'm single right now, right? But I find a need. These younger cats, I'm a vet, and they talk to me about how to deal with, there's a need, because even though my parents knew each other 10 days and were married 50 years and loved each other and did things together, they weren't able, like Dan said, to convey the formula to me. My question was going to be, can there be two blueprints that just by fate they match and they don't even know why, but they just cooperate? It was so beautiful, right? But they couldn't explain it to me the way that you just did, a stranger, right? So thank you. Practically, I'll do what I'm doing. I'll just I appreciate the invite, and I'll continue to show up as long as you'll let me. Christopher, can you talk?
Yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, you know, I'm not gonna say I'm experienced, but everything is unending. I think everything you're saying is, I would say, universally applicable in our relationships in general. And I think that's pretty cool. But everything you said specifically, it made me kind of feel like everything in life is that blueprint that's laid out, and what's needed is the organization. And we have this potential together to create that union, that, you know, so just to add and to answer.
Very cool. Very cool. If you guys remember, or if you've ever read the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Dynamite, in there he has a concept called the mastermind, right? And the mastermind is a group of men who basically have a certain goal, and when they begin to work together and they collaborate, then he couldn't explain it, right? It's like they pull the forces of the universe and whatever, but there's something special when really there is a group that is set on a certain mission, that they're unified by this mission. And that's why it works, not just relationship in the family, but any type of human relation, where we have to clarify the goal first. So any questions before, any questions on that at all? Got it. Sorry, 1 second. What's up?
This car.
Sorry.
Why? That experience just brought us closer together because we have the same goal.
Yeah. Where was I? What was I saying?
You're about to move on to your next section.
No, you guys
Yeah.
have questions before we go.
Question.
No questions. Everything's clear. So the biggest challenge we have is, what the hell do we do to begin to move from where we are into where we want to be? Even if we don't know where we want to be, but we feel that in this current situation, we're not comfortable. What do we have to do? So just like in relationship, there has to be commitment. And those meetings that we have weekly are absolutely awesome. I love them to death. They're amazing for that informational stage, to get people excited, to really just explain what the hell is going on. Explain the other side. What do women want? What do men want? How does the whole thing interact with each other? But it's not enough to build a support. And I was thinking that's going to be the case, and now I know that that's the case, where if I'm not invested in the process, I can come and I can go, and it's fine. I'm not saying that it's not fine. It's fine. Everybody's welcome to come and go as they please. But if I really want to impact change, then I owe it to myself and those who want to impact change to go through a certain additional process. Just like a course, just like a group, just like whatever that may be, I want to offer those who are interested to get together for something more serious. There's going to be a small fee for that, because again, when I invest into something, then I begin to feel a little more serious towards it. We're still going to have our meetings. I have to decide if they're going to be weekly, but definitely bi-weekly. We're still going to continue to talk about everything relationship and connection and psychology and women and men and everything that surrounds that. But for those who want to propel, like we talked about, who want to go to the next level in their blueprint and their relationship and how to get into a relationship, we're going to talk about it and go through a process together. I'm thinking probably to start 2 weeks from now. For those who are interested on, let's say, the week ending on the 19th of February, that way we can do it right after Valentine's Day. Look at that. So the week right after Valentine's Day, we can start. You don't have to tell me now if you're interested or not. I'll post a little sign up sheet and you guys can fill out your name with all the information is going to be there. But the whole concept of actually being in a group where you know that you have, like the 300, why were they so powerful? Because they knew that they can rely on the men on their right and the men on their left, that they have a mission and they have to support each other to be successful. That's the only difference. The who are those? Who are those? The you remember, Ben? I can't hear you at all. Why can't? Oh, nope. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. It was on my side. Sparta and the Persians. Was
Yes,
that the
the
300?
Persians.
Like,
Yes. And the Persians didn't have a goal. They just had to be, they were slaves. They were slave warriors who were owned by this god or whatever he assumed to be, who drove everybody into battle. They had no mission. They just fighting. So fighting. Their blueprint was basically very limited. Spartans were warriors. They had a goal. They knew how to achieve it. They were trained. And it's a completely different experience for the two types of people. Any questions about that or anything else, guys, before we're done? So maybe a quick question to close with. What is the difference between marriage and dating? To start.
In marriage, the woman knows that she owns you.
Next.
Yeah, I would say that at least in my case, in marriage, I take things for granted because I just assume that it's going to be forever. And in dating, there's no guarantees. So you got to make the most of it right here and now.
I would say if you're not married and you're dating, it's about having organized, I think maybe in this goal going forward, maybe a couple of non-negotiables in my partner, and then everything else is negotiable, right? And so I'm looking for a partner with qualities, not necessarily the hottest looking girl in town, right? Like when I was younger, but with qualities. So in dating, I'm prospecting, right? Once I'm married, that's the commitment that I've failed to keep, man. That's what I want to get to, is that commitment. Okay, now we've made the commitment. So there's no turning back. We've got to solve this, right? The level of commitment, I think, goes up. And dating, if you are married, is not good. I can tell you that from personal experience. It didn't fix anything.
Mr. Clark.
Well, I mean, I've been engaged and whatnot. So, but after living with a woman, I would say many things, and some of what Richard said. But there's a capacity to communicate and a commitment involved. When you're actually looking to connect with another person. So.
Awesome. So I'm going to end with this. The difference between dating and marriage is very simple. When I'm dating, I have zero commitment. I can do whatever the hell I want. I can see it today and I can see somebody else tomorrow. When I'm married, there is commitment. There is obligation, there is responsibility, there is commitment. And that's really the only difference. Everything else is just, it's true, but it's a manifestation, it's a result of these two aspects. One, I'm committed. On the other one, I'm not. When I'm committed towards something. What am I committed to, right? So again, we have to clarify the goal and strengthen those commitments. When I'm not committed, then I'm not committed. I can be here today, I can be sick tomorrow, I can, and it's like with anything. So anything, guys, before we leave? Awesome. So I'll share more information on the chat. Whoever wants to participate in taking it a step further, kudos. Otherwise, I will see you guys soon. Bye.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, friends.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.